After years of getting stressed out, overwhelmed, disappointed, heartbroken, and just straight up mad from all the many challenges of planting a church, I discovered a simple trick that has helped me stay calm when everything seems to be going wrong. I call it the joy exercise, and I learned about it from this book right here called The Other Half of Church. And I am so glad that I did, because for me, the joy exercise works every time. And no matter what stage of the church planting journey you're in, I think it'll work for you too. Probably once every other month or so, I'll come in on a Sunday morning excited and ready for the day, only to get slammed with one problem after another after another. The lights aren't working, the coffee machine is broken, every single volunteer is somehow sick and is called out. And all of a sudden, my day goes from hopeful and enthusiastic to distressed and chaotic. And that's a recipe for me turning into a version of myself that I really, really don't like. It's the stressed out version of me that gets visibly annoyed, extra sarcastic, and super short with people. And it's ugly. And in the past, I used to not know what to do about it. But now I have a plan. And usually within 5 minutes or less, no matter what I'm facing, I'm able to bounce back because of the joy exercise. So here's how it works. When I start feeling stressed about anything, I find a quiet place where I can be alone from people, really, for a few minutes. Usually it's in my office, but sometimes I'll go take a walk. But I like my office best because I find it extra comforting to be close to my dog. He's right here with me right now, actually. My office is basically his room, but he lets me office here. But just to be clear, you don't need a dog to do this. Okay, so once I am alone, sometimes I'll go in my car if I have to. But once I'm alone or with my dog, I will sit on the floor and just take a few deep breaths. Usually I'll do like 5 seconds in through the nose, I'll hold it for 5 seconds, and then 5 seconds out of the mouth. And these kinds of breathing exercises, I used to like dismiss them as unnecessary until I learned they're really important. Because especially in stressful times, because deep breathing, it actually gets more oxygen into your brain, which helps clear your head and helps you think more clearly. So breathing exercises are actually really, really good. So after doing that a few times, I'll start to think about one of the happiest memories of my life. And I know that might sound cheesy, but I'm telling you it works. And I don't just remember it as if I'm looking at a picture. I try to literally relive those memories. I try to put myself back into that moment and re-experience like who was there, what it sounded like, what the temperature was, what I was feeling and what I was seeing and what I was smelling and so on. For me, my top 3 memories include my wedding day, specifically like the moment Emily and I were pronounced husband and wife. Another memory includes the day that Emily and I officially moved into our new apartment in Kansas City right before we started our church planting residency there. That was just a wonderful time of life for us. And then another moment includes the first time I climbed my first 40-foot rock wall and then jumped off the top and had to trust that the auto belay was actually going to catch me and not let me plummet to my death. That moment of letting go and falling is one of the most joy-filled, it's one of the most terrifying moments I ever had, but also one of the most joy-filled moments I ever had. Now, obviously, I have reasons for why each of these moments were so significant to me, but the key is they were all moments where I felt an immense amount of joy. And I've learned that that kind of joy is really powerful, because it doesn't actually go away. Sometimes it gets covered up by things, but if you take the time to uncover it, you can absolutely relive it. And that's what this exercise is all about. And that's what this exercise does. It gives you the ability to encounter joy, even in the midst of your most stressful, challenging times. And I found that no matter how bad I'm feeling, when I settle myself long enough, clear my mind enough by doing these breathing exercises and relive those moments, I literally can't help but smile. Like it literally surprises me every single time, because usually when I sit down to do this, I'm at the point where I'm wondering if I'll ever smile again, right? Because I'm so upset by whatever's happening around me. So as soon as my face, as I'm thinking about these moments, as soon as my face starts to crack a smile, I get like a little startled, like, oh, wow. But I get startled in the best way. It's so cool to watch this happen. Okay, so first part of the exercise is I find a quiet, alone place and do some breathing exercises. Then I think about like some of my most joy-filled moments in life. And then the last part of this exercise involves prayer. After I've taken some time to breathe and relive those moments, I start to pray. In fact, I usually can't help but start to pray, because at this point of the exercise, like, I'm thinking about all these amazing things that I'm so grateful for, right? Like, and so my prayers are so much different after I do this than what they would have been if I started with prayer. Because at this point, my prayers are rooted in gratefulness, not anger and not anxiety. Because that's just what happens when you spend a few minutes re-experiencing joy. Like, you won't be able to help yourself. You'll have to just start thanking God. Like, God, thank you so much for those moments that I got to have with my wife, for those moments that I got to experience at that time of life, or in that season of life, or with my kids, or whatever it might be. And I think that this might be what Paul was getting at when he wrote Philippians chapter 4, verses 8 through 9. You're probably familiar. This is when he says, fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. And then he says, think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Do you notice that last part? Things that are worthy of praise. I guarantee the moments in your life that bring you the most joy are absolutely moments that are excellent and lovely and worthy of praise. So really, why wouldn't I want to relive those moments as much as we possibly can, and then praise God for them? Because when we do, our perspective completely changes. It can't help but change, because in light of all the pure, lovely, excellent, admirable moments that God has given you in your life, all of a sudden the tech issues or the call outs or the bad weather or whatever it is that's stressing you out won't feel so bad. So here's my question for you. For the sake of your own health, emotional and spiritual health, for the sake of your family and your team and your church, would you give this a try next time you're feeling like the world is collapsing? Just try it. Because the perspective shift that you get from the joy exercise, breathing, reliving those joyful moments, and then praying, the perspective shift you get from that may be just what you need for God to lead you forward. But quick heads up, if you do try to do this, the first few times are going to feel really awkward and really silly. It certainly did for me, but it's normal. It's normal. Just keep pushing through. Just keep doing it anyway. And if you get to the point where you're not really feeling that memory anymore, as you're trying to relive whatever it might be for you, that's okay. Just move on to the next one. That's why you have to come up with several memories. In order for this to really work the best as it can, you got to do a little prep work, which will involve thinking about, I don't know, probably 5 to 10 of your most powerful and most joy-filled memories. This way, if you start getting lost in one, or one of them, you start thinking about something else while you're reliving that memory, you just move on to the next memory. And I would recommend actually jotting them down, put it on a note in your phone or a sticky note somewhere, so that when you're in the middle of this exercise, you don't have to try to remember what your memories are. You can just glance at a note or glance at something, and it's right there in front of you. Now, if you're brave enough to give this a try, which I hope you are, would you let me know in the comments? Let me know in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, just type the word joy to let me know you're going to give this a try. Or if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, just Instagram message me at Church Plant Journey. Does anybody say that? Instagram message me? What's the term? DM? Just DM me at Church Plant Journey. Lastly, if one of the things that you are stressing out about most these days is fundraising, then I want to help with that. I want to give you a simple fundraising guide that I put together that I think could be really beneficial to you. This guide features the top 5 things that Emily and I did that helped us raise over $345,000 in startup funds alone. And I think that these tips can really help you too. So it's free. Just click the link in the description to snag your copy. And remember, no matter where you're at in your church planting journey, no matter what you're facing, no matter how you're feeling, I want you to know you can do this. You can do this. I believe in you. I want you to believe in you. Why? Because you have got the Spirit of God living in you, which means there's nothing that God can't do through you. So believe in yourself. Keep on trusting God. Keep going, and know that I'm here cheering you on every step of the way.